All right, thank you for joining today's webinar session. This is Ian Hanau with Planet Geo based in Denver, Colorado. I go ahead and share my screen. Please feel free to use the chat feature to raise a hand or anything like that. And also there's a Q&A panel or Q&A button as well. So those are both good places to submit any questions that you have along the way. This is part of our spring webinar series for 2019, and we try to do something a little bit new each time, each quarter. And what we wanted to focus on today is ways in which the value of software as a service or subscription-based urban forestry software increases in value over time. This also comes right on the heels of the biggest software update or release that we've done at Planet Geo with the TreePlotter software suite, basically ever. So we just rolled that out about 4 or 5 days ago. We've been handling handful of small, bugs and issues and such, and right now things are in really good shape. So what we want to do today is really just share a little bit about what came out with that release, things that are coming out later in the year for the software platform, and also just give a good overview of some of the tools, both existing tools for those that are new for today's group, as well as the tools that are updated. So I think this should be useful for both new and potential software clients in the audience today. So again, my name is Ian Hanau. I'm a forester and GIS guru by background. I founded Planet Geo in 2012. I have my hands in just about all the operations, and I still like to do these webinar presentations every so often. So just a little bit about who's here and who registered for today's webinar. We have about 1/4 of the audience that are existing clients, and about 3/4 that are new potential clients that are exploring the platform and trying to learn more. So that's useful in terms of the kind of content that I share and how much existing functionality we go through. On the right, we asked everyone to fill out what sector they're from, and so you get a pretty good sense here. It's a very diverse group, maybe 1/3 government, roughly about half in private sector. So that also helps to give a sense of the types of examples that we want to show in the presentation today. The next session in the webinar series for our spring webinars is from Beth Corrigan. Beth joined us in January 2019. She was with the Morton Arboretum in Illinois for about, I think, almost 20 years, if I recall. So she has a tremendous wealth of knowledge and experience that she brings to our team. Beth works within our software group. She'll be talking about the value of urban forestry software, specifically really with a focus on how to move your programs from not so much reactive but more proactive tree care, whether it's municipal or private. I think the focus is actually municipal. So that's next week, and just wanted to let you know about that. So a little background on Planet Geo. We are based in Colorado. We're both a services company and a software company. So we have about 30 staff, roughly close to 20 in Colorado and about 10 in other offices throughout the US. We also have software partners around the world. That's actually the program that I run right now and spend a lot of my time on. So from left to right here, we have the TreePlotter software, and roughly half the company is focused on the software suite. So that includes developers, support team, sales team, and marketing. And then the 3 areas to the right are the services side of the company, which when I first founded the company, that was really all we did 8 years ago. So now it's a very full round, hopefully well-rounded turnkey kind of solution that we offer within consulting, using our software for our own tree inventories and assessments. Also using our software and lots of other GIS tools to do remote sensing projects. So we do canopy cover assessments, urban land cover analysis, looking at green infrastructure. We use the iTree suite of tools heavily. And then we have our planning group that writes urban forest management plans as well as master plans. They range in size from individual cities, even homeowners associations, all the way up to multiple county or regional plans. So that gives you a quick sense of who we are as a group. It's a pretty diverse, and really we're all tied to the same concept about geospatial information, urban planning, sustainability, and urban trees and parks. So if you're not familiar with the entire suite, we did some rebranding in the last 6 months or so. So the entire suite of tools is basically under the TreePlotter name, and we have specific products. And some of these products can be merged together. Technically speaking, you can have TreePlotter Inventory, which is what we're mostly going to focus on today, and that can also have TreePlotter Canopy, which is more of a landscape set of tools for looking across entire tree canopy cover. And then we can also have park asset management included as well. So I'll cover that briefly today. We have a new product coming out called TreePlotter Jobs. I'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's exciting as well. Just an overview on the platform. It is heavily GIS and map based. This means you can place trees and other assets into aerial imagery or use GPS if you want, but you're not required to use GPS. We also have a lot of base maps built in, so you can choose from different aerial sources. The entire system is web-based. It's specifically, though, browser-based and cloud-based. So this means you do not need to download the software ever to use it. You simply go to your choice of web browser and go to the URL. We do develop TreePlotter within Google Chrome, and so it is recommended. However, Safari on iPads, iOS devices works almost just as well. And then, of course, Firefox and the new Microsoft Edge that took over for Internet Explorer. So really any of those browsers. We also have an offline module. So if you're in areas where maybe you have poor reception connectivity, or you have a tablet without a data plan, that's a great add-on, is the offline module. The entire system is very mobile, so there is no separate app for TreePlotter. If you're new to the system and the platform, you can use, again, just open up your web browser on phone, tablet, or desktop. So that also makes it very accessible to get to your data and also to share information with others. We have a 1-year and a 3-year subscription. With the new jobs product, there will probably later this year be a monthly subscription as well with that. And generally speaking, the system is pretty customizable and configurable. So we want to maintain that over the years. It's one of the things that clients enjoy the most about it. All right, moving on. So let's get into some of the details. I have a list here of newly released features. A couple of these are modules and add-ons as well. So I'm going to just talk through this fairly high level, and then when I get out of PowerPoint, I'll show some of the TreePlotter applications, and you can. We're going to go really into some of the new tools, reports, and so forth. So the biggest thing we did was we rolled out what we call the Hub, which is a new menu that organizes tools, reports, statistics, dashboard, administrative tools. So that's pretty exciting. We also have updates to a tool that is essential really to effective use within TreePlotter, is our filter. So this is your search tool. You can search trees, other kinds of records, inspections, work orders, but now you're able to search between different layers, if you will, or databases. So what this means, if you have the work order management module with our system, you can search not just trees or work records or work orders, but all three of those combined. So it's much more powerful in that sense. The new, we have had, I think, pretty good reports over the years. We have an upgrade of that's pretty substantial. There's a new dashboard. You can actually pin charts and reports to your dashboard as an admin user to have more control over that. There are what we call a matrix report, which I'll show you, and there are individual tree reports. And you can choose from 1 tree per page all the way up to 6 trees per page, basically how condensed you want and how many data fields you want to show on the trees in your report. So that's a huge improvement. And again, this release we've been working on for, some aspects of it for a year. So it's pretty exciting for us. There is a relatively new add-on that comes with the complete product level of TreePlotter that's called inspections. And we've decided to make, for now at least, to make this available by request, so no extra cost if you have the complete level. And this allows you to choose data fields from your overall tree inventory, and those get re-inspected in the form, and you can see the changes over time. So you can look at DBH, condition or health, various defects and observations, maybe height, things like that, and see how the information changes over time. Go back to that tree. So that's a really handy new form, and I'll show you how that works. We have a report coming out for that one as well down the road. We also made a big update to the legend. So legends in a legend in a printed map is a very static thing. We look at ours as a very interactive legend. So it's now docked or sort of housed off to the right side of the application instead of floating around. It has your client, your logo at the top. You can now minimize the charts that are there, the real basic little pie chart and bar chart. So they don't get in the way, and it really helps you maximize the real estate on your screen the way that you can now work with that. We have some updates to the admin and logging in area. So as some of you know, you can create unlimited users with our licensing and our subscriptions. So with admin privileges, you not only when you create these users, you can now set a filter. So you can use the advanced filter. An example would be maybe you want a certain user to only see data that has been completed for a risk level, or you only want to see a contractor to see work that needs trees that need a certain type of work. So it'll actually filter out all data in this tool now when you apply that filter. All right. Another great tool that actually was released about 5-6 months ago is, and again, only available to the admin level, is the data fields editor. This is a huge leap for us. We worked on this for about a year as well. You're allowed to basically take control of the backend database almost completely. You can add fields, you can modify them, you can hide data fields, you can even choose which data field and drop down go into which tab. And I'll show you what I mean by that. There's different tabs when you're editing and inventorying trees. You can even add new drop-down values on your own. So that's a great tool. There's a good video on our support site for that as well. Lastly here, we have a couple of add-ons and modules I just wanted to make you aware of. They are on the TreePlotter website. We have one called Tree Tours that we rolled out late 2018, and it's pretty neat. It's basically it's comprised of two elements: a builder and a viewer. So you can choose, in the builder, you can choose which trees you want to create a tour from, and then you have a viewer that you can share out to allow people to view those specific trees, and you attach photos to them, descriptions, and it shows you in the tour where you're at along that tour. So it's definitely not it's not a maintenance and operations type of use. It's much more of an information sharing and outreach add-on. We also have an API, and so this allows us to either ourselves or to expose the API to our clients to integrate the data in TreePlotter with other systems. So the really common example would be cities with ESRI, ArcGIS software. So TreePlotter does come what they call WFS ready. That means Web Feature Services. So it means the data in TreePlotter can be instantly displayed in ArcGIS Pro without any coding or programming. So that's really, really neat. We would like to think we're at the forefront of those kinds of technologies and modernization. Another example would be asset management programs or customer service management. What else? In the US, at least 311 systems, things of that nature. So the ability to share data and pass that through the internet is something that we've been actually working on for a couple of years now. Just wanted to make sure that existing clients or potential clients are aware of that. There's more information on the support site. You just simply put in integration or API. Okay, just wrapping up here, a couple more tidbits for you. We do have this new product called TreePlotter Jobs coming out roughly right now. We're thinking October 1st. Very exciting for us. It is a completely new software build. It won't look or act like existing TreePlotter inventory. It's very focused on private tree care firms, still with the powerful mapping capabilities we have now, but with much more of a business purpose and business management tools, including estimates, job scheduling, integration with QuickBooks, invoicing, and more. So it's a huge, huge product for us and a new direction, which is exciting. We're also working on some CAD, so like AutoCAD, interoperability with GIS. There are, in particular in the UK and Australia, which are some markets that we serve, there are needs for integrating better the data in our application, which again is very GIS based, with CAD formats. It's still definitely applicable in the US. There's a specific report type used in UK and to some degree in Australia that we're working on, and that'll be available in late July. So we've been hot and heavy down in the weeds on that development, which is really exciting. You already, if you're not aware, you can export data in TreePlotter to DXF format to bring into CAD. So that's actually been available for about 9 months now. But this will be much more rigorous than just that. And lastly, on the bottom right, we have been having lots and lots of meetings and getting feedback from clients on updates to the work order management module for TreePlotter. This is primarily useful for local governments to issue work orders, handle service requests, things of that nature. So we have some fairly big improvements coming out. We're really looking to simplify a lot of the interfaces, reduce the number of buttons and the different ways to do things. So it should be hopefully much more streamlined. We're actually beginning that development right now and hoping to roll out the first round of updates in mid to late July. And we will be sharing that with existing clients, of course, so they know what's coming, and they can also have some choices on how we roll that out. All right. Overall, the value, again, with a subscription-based software application, I think we really try to have incredibly responsive, just exceptional support for our clients. There's a website called capterra.com, and they host, I think, 500 or more software products and allow for surveys, essentially reviews of the software. And that's the one of 5 categories is about support, and we're very proud to say we have 5 out of 5 stars for that over the years, with more than 50 clients who have completed that. We have a fantastic support site, which I will show you. There are tons of videos. You can search for just about anything. So when we have requests for issues or needs, we almost always say, please go to the support site, check that out, and then we'll work with you beyond that. And if you're not aware, within TreePlotter, you can go under the hub and you can go to support and let us know what kind of device you're using and if you have some kind of issue you've come across. So we get these all the time and strongly recommend all of our clients get the most value out of the software if they are working with us to contribute that kind of input. As we're doing right now, we have quarterly webinars, of course, on various topics. We also do hands-on, interactive, in-person workshops. We just did one yesterday in Boston, Massachusetts. And of course, we attend, present at, numerous industry conferences, write articles to journals where we can contribute. And we have a blog on our website as well, which is something you might not be aware of. Now, I can't give you that CEU code, so I'm going to stop my PowerPoint right there, and we'll come back to the CEU code. All right. I don't see any chat messages yet. I don't see any Q&A. So just a reminder for anybody who joined a little bit late, please feel free to submit anything you have. Oh, here we go. One chat message. Yes, we're going to talk about the Parks application and happy to talk about costs. Okay. All right. So if you haven't been here before, this is instead of just treeplotter.com, this is support.treeplotter.com. And it's a really fantastic resource. We put a lot of time into this about a year ago. We have a handful of Spanish speaking countries and clients these days. So there's even some instructions in Spanish, which is great, including videos. So this talks about new features that have been released. You can go here directly for training videos or directly to all the add-on modules available. I talked about a couple of things today. If you're interested in the offline collector, to map and update attributes about trees when without an internet connection, that's how you would find that. If I want to go to the API that I mentioned, let's see here, how about integration? Yeah, so that just pulls up anything really in the system. Here's the API. So I could click on that and go to the page. So I won't go into any more detail than that, but it actually has some sample code, that a little test key here, and various information. So definitely much more technical, but these days people want to be able to use forestry specific software and GIS software and asset management for other things. So really to be able to integrate those together is really where we're striving. All right, so I have this is our US demo application. And again, I'm just going to very quickly cover some of the things that are new in the system. I think we'll also I like to begin by adding a tree to the map. So if you haven't done that before, if you're new to the system, that's a great way to start, is just simply by adding a tree. So you can go on our website or directly to this URL, access the demo app anytime. Let me just show you where that's at. It should be at the top right. Yep, try TreePlotter, get a demo, just right there. So. And I think even for existing clients, it does help to see other data fields and go mess around and not feel like you're, messing with your data necessarily. So anyway, with the tools over here, you can go to your home extent of the map. You can use this on mobile devices to go to use your GPS location to zoom in. You can also just type in an address. I think this is a sample data set from one of our clients in Texas, just outside of Austin. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just pick a random area here, and let's put a tree into the map. So if you haven't done this before, we'll just start off with some simple things. Okay, so we're going to click Add. I'm going to go up to Map. We also have a GPS option. So again, if you wanted to collect the location, the XY coordinates of the tree, that way you could. This is an optional pop-up, so you can turn this off if you don't use it. You see to get the crosshairs here, so it's pretty simple. You can be about as accurate as you want to be, and the coordinates are going to pull from the imagery. They're not going to pull from satellites like with GPS. So really, there's even a move tool, so you can simply move the tree if you want. So let's go ahead. I'll just pick this guy. Obviously, if you're on the ground, you can tell a bit better if that's one large tree, or if that's multiple trees. In this case, a little harder to tell from up above. Some of our clients do map the location of a tree prior to going outside and in the field. So I think that's kind of a good use case or workaround, if you will, that some users, they'll just put the locations of the trees in, and then they'll fill out more attributes when they get out there. So again, you can see the location. You can move that at any time if you want. This is the form. There haven't really been any big changes in the data form. I'm going to talk about the inspection module, or it's not really a module, it's just a form in a database. So I can talk about that as well. But let's go ahead. We have the status of the tree. We can just put in American sycamore, say 22 inches in size. I'm not going to fill everything out, but if you're new to the system, it's very easy to use. And let's just do a couple more attributes here. I'll leave that blank. Okay. You can attach a photo to a tree, so that's nice. There's a photo option right here. Just scroll down in your form, attach a photo. You can attach as many as you want. These are the tabs I was talking about earlier. So this is fully customizable. As I meant, let's go ahead and show real quick under the hub menu. I'm logged in as an admin level, which means I have access to the data fields editor. So if you haven't used that yet and you're a client, you really should check it out. Again, there's a video on the support site, but I'll just click it really quickly. I'm not going to go into detail on it. So this allows you to see all the data fields. In fact, we have it locked down. That's right. For the demo app, we actually lock it down so that people can't edit it. But you just click here and you can go, update your values, add new ones. You can also set permissions. So there's some really, really sophisticated things you can do to control your database with the data fields editor. You'll notice the address is automatically populated. Here we have different drop downs, single family, latitude, longitude, things like that. But again, this is really, every client of ours has a different set of data. Maybe it's a medium priority for the work. So now we're under management and maintenance. Maybe that's just simply a crown thin. I'll leave everything else blank. But yeah, this is just an example essentially, and I'm logged in as user 1. So this information automatically gets populated in every one of our client apps. It's the user, when the tree was added, and then when it was last edited. We have a slight reorganization to the history tab. This is a little bit different if you have the work order management module or if you don't. The biggest thing that's new is this inspection area. So you see there are no current inspections for this tree. Let's see. There's also, we have an appraisal module for the folks who use arborists that do appraisals. And we also have a track module, so ISA track. We call this our advanced risk assessment, and it's an add-on module. However, you do get a very simplified basic track option with the complete level of TreePlotter. Okay, so I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add a second tree. We're going to use this load last if you haven't seen it, and then we'll go into the inspection. And after that, I think we'll get into the reports. So I just added one sycamore. Let's just say I'm out there and it turns out there's one right next to it. If you haven't used it before, this is a load last tool. It just overwrites or it copies the information from the previous tree. So really, you can even go click on an existing tree and it will remember whatever attributes are in that tree. It doesn't have to be the one that you just mapped. It's really just the one you previously opened. So I'm going to say, yes, I'd like to overwrite this or populate this, I guess. And now I have that, and maybe I just need to change a few things. Everything else is the same, and I can just move on. So let's turn that off, the adding and moving. Now, let's say I want to do an inspection now on this tree. You'll notice there's this inspection button now. We also, with the release, have an updated report. So that's really nice. Yeah, let's go ahead and I'll just click that now. This is very data-driven. So what that means is whatever you set up in the data fields editor or that we help, or our support team helps you set up, it will use those fields in these reports. And the way we prioritized the images is that if you have photos, that's the primary. If there's street view, that appears, and then also an overhead map. So pretty nice upgrade for us. We have a couple of sections that are going to be added to this in the future, probably August, we're thinking, is it will show any inspections, it will show any service requests, and any work orders. And again, those latter two are associated with the work order module. So I'll stop there, but that's just an example of one of the new reports. Oh, I should mention, just in case I don't later, you can share the URL for those reports with anybody. You don't have to just print it to PDF. So that's a really nice feature to be able to share a tree. So let's go to the inspect tool here so you can take a look at this. The way this works is you choose which data fields under the inspection manager. So let's come over here. So here's our inspection manager. And I'm going to choose a tree inspection. So you'll notice here, those are the 5 fields that we have. So I could add more fields from my database. Here's the big long list, and choose which fields go into the inspection. The way it works is you click Open, and let's just say, and let's do an extreme example. This tree has really declined. So it was in good condition, and now it's dead. Let's not worry about the cycle. Size, maybe it grew a little bit since the last time we saw it, but it's been, let's say, cavity decay. So now, we need to remove this tree. So I'll just say serious decline and safety risk. Nice thing too, you can do photos of the inspection. And when you're done, you just simply say submit. And what that does, I got one more thing to mention. This little prompt lets you know that when the tree was initially added to the map, it doesn't technically populate an inspection automatically the way that we've developed this. Instead, you have to tell it that I want to use the values that were in the tree initially, and in theory, it's going to be 6 months, a year, several years later when you come back to that tree after the first survey, potentially annual surveys. So this just allows you to essentially populate the initial values. So now when I go into that tree and I go into the history, we're actually going to have two records. We'll have the initial one, which shows who did it and when, and then you can see the data fields. So I can see that it used to be 22 inches in size, the condition was good, and at the time there were no observations. But remember that I just put this tree into the map, and I didn't put any observations the first time. So one thing to be cautious about is if you just pull this up, is if you add fields, they won't have values from the previous inspection. So it's definitely one of those things as an admin for your tool. You want to figure out, how are we going to use this? How often are we going to do inspections? And so forth. But really nice feature. We have a report button we're going to add, and hopefully the next month or two. I think it's probably going to be August realistically. But the important thing is that it is storing and saving the information to do the reports that we have planned and visioned. Another thing, if you're not familiar, if you don't have the work order module, you get what we call our simple work history, which is really just the ability to say, I did a crown raise, limbed up 8 feet, maybe vehicle clearance or something, and just say submit. So this is another type of history on the tree, and you can see who did it, when, and any notes. So that's a real simple way to, you can also filter for this later on, show me which trees we have not pruned or that we have pruned or things like that, or maybe watered or mulched. All right, so that's a good, just to make sure I come back to my list here, I'm just want to make sure I cover everything. Okay, we covered the hub briefly. There's not a whole lot that's updated with the legend. I'll just minimize this and show you. For anybody who's new, you can color code the trees in your map based on any dropdown. The only thing we can't color code are multi-field or like observations or defects. Those are going to have, say, 10 or 20 check items, and there's really no way to color code on those because there's more than one value. Whereas, let's go back to the home extent. Whereas if I take, say, DBH, I can now click on DBH. It will color code the trees by their ranges. One thing we did with the update is we hid these little charts. So if you do want those counts and percentages, there's a quick way to get that here. All right, I think that's probably one of the bigger ones. You can also dock this. So when you minimize it, you have this little legend button here, which is kind of handy. So really maximize your real estate for what you're doing. I talked about the advanced filter. For anybody who's not familiar with this, it's a really handy tool. I think to be effective with TreePlotter, you pretty much have to use the filter tool. You'll notice there is now no filters applied, and if you want to apply a filter, you can open up the window. And again, this has some updates. If you have the work order module, you can search on, say, I want to see oak trees, and then you can go search on your work information that says oak trees that need removal or are have a due date in the next 2 months or something like that. So it's really querying 2 different databases, and you just click here to do that. This demo application doesn't have the work order module, so it doesn't quite work the same, but you can search your work history here. Let's see, I do want to show you one of my favorite handy tools here is, these are all tests because this is a demo, but this filter, this is the ability to save a filter. So you see my window's in the way. Let me just move this. So let's first of all just show you how to use the filter tool, and then we'll save one of them. So let's just say we want to look at the worst condition trees, so dead and poor, and the largest size. So let's take the upper half of trees. I'm going to go ahead and say apply. All right, now you'll notice maybe this is how you would prioritize your inspections. We have 56, so there's 72 total in the data set that fall into that range. Let's go to condition so you can see that. It's only going to show poor and dead. And if you want to save this, we can now do that. So I'm going to say large, poor, or dead trees. So if you don't use this and you're a user, you should. It's a great tool for quick, easy access. I'm going to close this. So again, we still have our filter. Let's go to turn it off. It's going to go back to all the trees. And by the way, all of this works identical with our TreePlotter Parks application. There's very little differences. All the tools are the same, color coding, the data fields, the drop downs, how you add a park asset, things like that. And I have our park demo app up, and I can show you how to do that. So again, we've cleared that filter, and I'm going to go down to, what was the one there's too many in here because this is a demo. Here we go. Large, poor, or dead trees is the one that I just made. And now I have those, and I can go on doing my work. So now I can see what species. Let's take a look. So these are this is the mix of species, their counts that are large. That's actually pretty diverse. They got a lot of large live oaks that need some attention. So hopefully that's a good demo of the legend and the filter tool. Now let's get into reports. This is one of the neatest aspects of the release that we've just done. And I'm just going to check my list here. So I want to show a couple types of reports. We've already looked through inspections. We could probably go to the admin after that as well. So I think that's most of what we want to cover, and hopefully we're on time. Again, remember, if you haven't submitted a question, that's up there, so feel free. I may not get to it immediately. There's also the chat window. So definitely expect a few existing clients to have some questions about how to do things. Feel free to submit those. So let's start off with one of the easier ones. This is what we call a matrix report, and I'm just going to click Generate. Now, what you'll notice, we add these up, 48 and 24, and that's 72 trees. So these reports, they're using the filter. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn that off. Let's look at all of our data. All right, and let me click. There you go. I just clicked Generate again, and now it's giving me, in each DBH range, it's giving me the count or the percent of data that's within that. So pretty handy, simple report, print that off and go. And oh, I didn't show, but you can choose which data. You could do species by DBH, things like that. We have a new set of reports here. If you click the drop down, these are very similar to when I clicked on the tree and clicked report and showed you. So let's go ahead. And again, these work based on your filter. So see how it says use applied filter. We set limits to these for a few different reasons. One of which is that the Google Street View, we actually pay, like our company pays every time you access and use the Google Street View in a report. So we wanted to put some little cap on that so we somewhat control our costs. But let's, the purpose of this really is if you want to print out a list, a small report of, say, a group of trees, or if you want to print off a much larger, you can choose how much information to share. So let's go to the one tree. And what I'm going to do, just as I can't remember, let's see how many trees. We can search on which trees have photos. I'm going to go here under P for photos. Okay, so I just added that. And we have our photos. So I'm going to search. I actually don't know how many trees in this database have photos. Let's just take a look. Oh, quite a few actually, 290. Okay, so again, with this limit, I'm going to go ahead and just do what we call our do a map filter. Let me minimize these. So this is the tree map filter, pretty handy tool. So let's just say I'm interested, maybe for a meeting or a project coming up, I'm interested in the trees in this specific area. So now we have 39 trees. And again, all of them have photos associated. So I'm going to go ahead and say Ian's demo report, demonstration report, and say run. So this is going to be 39 pages because we have one tree per page. And in this case, you get a lot of information. All the data fields, there's plenty of space. You can choose, oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen that. My guess is that, oh, I know what it was. When we made a copy of the City of Lakeway, Texas, their app, and when we did that, we didn't source the photos. So I apologize, but I can show you another one where it'll work. So in other words, when we made a copy, we didn't really source that. But what's nice here is you get to choose between photo, street view, or map view for your reports. And again, this is a live link, so you can copy this and send this to anybody very easily, or save it to PDF. So again, go down through the trees and see what you have. So So that's one tree per page. Let's close that. Let's go 6 trees just for kicks. I'll show you how this one works. So it's a lot less information, right? Because it's per page, but now it's much more condensed. And the way it works is you can't on your own, you can't choose the data fields. You have to actually ask our support team, and then we'll do that for you. There's no charge. It's just part of the interface. Really, it was going to take a lot longer, and we just wanted to get this release out the door. So no big deal. Existing clients just let us know, and you say, all right, for my 6 tree per page report, I don't want Latin. I want maintenance, management, priority, that sort of thing. All right, so that's a really, really nice set of reports. This one we've had for quite a while, but it's a big upgrade. It's significantly faster than it used to be. What this does is it prints off all the different summary level charts and graphs that you have in your application. So if you come in here, you can see there are charts and graphs for the trees by their location, their management, their diversity, species diversity, health, and so forth. And of course, I want to show you our new dashboard feature. Let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead and clear the filter. Clear all filters. You'll know, I don't know if you saw it, the chart here on the left instantly updated to reflect all 2,000 trees in this application. So it's a great way you can actually save, if you want to come over here and save a chart to a JPEG or something, you could apply a filter, then save the chart, clear the filter, and save another chart. So you can do that in so many different ways. So you could say, what are the species of highest risk? What are our species of largest size or the worst condition? And just instantly get those new charts right out of the system. Okay, so I love this little new addition we added with the release. It's called pinning a chart to your dashboard. So it's gray, and as soon as I click on it, it's now blue. So it's going to show up here in the dashboard. Let's go down to size and composition. All right, so this is now a combination of species by DBH range. Let's pin that one as well. How about, what else do we have in here? Status of our trees, most are alive. Here we go. This is species by condition. So I pin those charts. I'm just going to minimize this. Now we go up to the dashboard. There we go. So you have a lot of control over this, which is pretty neat. So we now have 4 charts. Again, you can view, tabular. This is also new. Several clients had asked for this over the last couple of years, is the ability to show all of them, not just your top 10. So that's really handy. Now you got a quick list of, in this case, by species. Now, another neat thing is you can actually turn off categories. So here, if I said, well, all right, Quercus, I got my oaks, but I want to know what's the rest of the diversity, not including those oaks. You just simply turn off that category. So that's pretty cool. All right, now why did I show you all that? Well, if you want to print off a report of all the charts and pie charts, bar graphs, tables, you can do that under all charts. If you just simply want to show, it's sort of a way to customize your report. But if you pin charts to the dashboard, you can then print just those charts, which is kind of handy. So another sample by Ian, and we'll click go. All right, so you'll notice it has this little hide button. So this just tells you, do you have any filters applied? So the filter in this case is my dashboard charts, but I don't want to include that, so I'll just click hide. Yep, we can hide that. You can type in comments. So maybe we have too many oaks and need to diversify. So good way to do that. The left and the right here, this is the pie chart view, this is the table view. If you don't think you need both, just simply hide one of them before you print the report. So that's a pretty quick demo of that, but really handy. Again, you can save it to PDF or you can send it off as a URL. I think those are the big updates. Let's see here. We still have what we call by the numbers, where you can do some quick searches. We also did an upgrade, if you will, at least the aesthetics of this user interface. So here we have all the benefits the trees are providing, the ecosystem benefits. So we do use the iTree tools and iTree research to do this. We have a big update, and I forgot to put this in my PowerPoint, but we have a big update probably Q4 of this year. There are new calculations in the eco model from iTree. So we actually just had a meeting with them a couple weeks ago. And I get to be at in Syracuse, New York in a couple weeks for the iTree symposium and present on some of the work that we've done. So we have a really close relationship with that group. Try to benefit from and incorporate what they do into our tools. So these numbers do get updated if you do a filter. So you could say, show me the value of all of our oaks or all of our ash trees or something like that. But yeah, this is another update that came out with the system, which is nice. So I think that covered most of what I wanted to with the reports. Let me stop for just a second to take a breath and ask for some questions. It would be great to have you guys guide the conversation a little bit more. So I can call out specific people who I know if I need to, but it'd be great to get some questions on just really anything, whether you're new to the system and you just want to see how to do something. We got about 5-10 minutes left. This is exactly the time to do that. So I'm gonna pause and let you guys ask some questions in the chat or the Q&A. Don't all ask your questions at once. All right, well, while you think of a good question, for anybody interested in the TreePlotter Parks application, we have a pretty new demo application. So this is, again, you can access this from our website. We have a page dedicated to Parks, basically the Parks Plotter, TreePlotter Parks application. So there's really not that many differences. We have both. I'm going to click here. One of the biggest initial differences is you can view your trees just like we just did, or you can go to amenities. A good point, though, if you're not familiar with it, is this application does have the work order management module. So we have data points and databases for jobs and work orders, service requests, and in this case, because it has parks, we add amenities, irrigation, and playgrounds. We have a few clients that are also starting to get into mowing areas. We're going to be working on things like how to do cyclical, high-frequency work like mowing and things like that. But if you're not familiar, this is how we set things up where it's TreePlotter Inventory, TreePlotter Parks, and the Work Order Management module all in one. So we have, you'll also notice we have different base map here. So we can set the base map, and as you zoom in, it actually dynamically changes, which is kind of nice. So if you ever need us to do that, let us know. Good, somebody submitted a chat question. But let's go ahead and just take a look. We have an amenity here. It's there's restrooms. We could go to ball fields, it looks like. What else do we have? There's, as you can see, there's bike racks. You can do whatever you want. Just like trees, you can add your own data fields. We'll help you customize that. Tennis courts and so forth. So let's go, and here's a picnic tables. Let's go into details. All right, so it looks real similar, and that's kind of the beauty is if you know how to use TreePlotter Inventory, you know how to use TreePlotter Parks. It's really a same kind of concept. So we've got the user, who added this, when did they add it. You can capture your defects, your notes. So it's really very similar, and go to the history, things like that. If you're not familiar, if you get the work order module, you have what we call work records. So this allows you to enter a work record and be really specific. You can schedule the work record, give it a priority, put in hours, track costs in a much more detailed way, set the due date for certain work, assign it to a crew, things like that. So I'm not going to hit submit, but that's just a quick demonstration of that. And before I show any more features here in the Parks application, I'm going to go look at the questions. All right, we got one from Dave, got a pricing question. How does pricing work for a municipality who wants to start a system inventory? Can certain information be accessible to residents? All right, great. Yeah, we got a couple. Those are really good questions to ask. So Pricing is on the website, and I'd be glad to pull that up and talk about how pricing is structured. If you're starting from scratch, then you won't need a fee to import existing data. We'll give you a template, so the drop downs and data fields, we'll give you a really good template to start with. We can help you modify those, or you can go into the data fields editor on your own and really take control over the database. Let's see. The second part is a really good, I'll come back to costs, but the second part's a really good question, and I didn't quite address that. So if I logged out right now, you would only be able to see very minimal information about the trees. And let's go ahead and do that here in the demo app. So I'm going to log out, and when I do, you won't be able to go to the offline tool, you won't be able to add, and even things like what information you can color code by and so forth is all going to change. So as a client, you can, let me just move this around, you can choose, it's up to you what information is visible and shared with clients and what is not. And there are probably 200 things in the software that you can modify about what the public gets to see, or even say, we have a lot of clients that have a volunteer login level, a contractor login level, and you can hide certain information. You can even hide entire buttons and tools. So the idea being that you want to really simplify that user experience. So the shorter answer to your question, I suppose, is that this information right here in the pop-up is what the public sees when they log in. And I don't know if you remember, but I was able to color code by condition, status, things like that, and now I can't. So there's several areas of the tool that we customize by default, but then you can modify that to your liking over time. I think hopefully that answers your question about what's made accessible to residents. It's really up to you, and we help you to do that. We also have what we call landing pages, and let me just go to an example here. So this is an add-on as well. There's quite a few ways to customize the tool. So this is a custom landing page. This is an organization in Los Angeles, one of our clients. They have some of these buttons here that will load specific information or jump the user to specific things like logging in. And then they paid a little extra to have the eco benefits right up in the front of their landing page. So this is just an example of another way to engage with residents. It's completely optional. And the other thing I suppose I should say is for private sector clients, the default setup hides all information. You don't see trees, you don't see which clients or projects you're working on, but that really would be good probably to show. So let me pause for just a second here. We got somebody that raised a hand. I don't know where do I think it was somebody raised a hand, but I'm not sure how to go look for that. So what I want to do is show you how we set the tool up for private sector companies and not just. This is our partner in Australia, and they don't mind if I show their application and log in. I just want to make sure it's clear that if you have multiple projects, multiple clients, which is very, very common, of course, private industry, as opposed to, say, a single inventory for a city, you'll notice now there's no buttons. Everything is hidden except login and the ability to just simply move around in the map. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. You see there's hardly any information here. And one of the unique things is instead of showing trees, we show all of their projects. And I believe, yes, this is sample data here. Can't remember. Bear with me. We're just going to pick one of the projects, sites, and then what you do is you click Load Trees, and it shows you only the trees for that specific project. So here I have 3 trees. So again, this is the setup we use for private companies, private consultants, and tree care firms that purchase the software. So now I just click back to client sites, and that's how you navigate back and forth. Let me see if I can show one that's a little bit more interesting here. Yeah, this one. This is a good example. Again, just click Load Trees. You obviously add these client sites to the map yourself. So here we have 32 trees, and that client tells you which one, and then if you want to switch back. One nice thing is you can set up user accounts to only edit data within this specific client site. So that's another thing I didn't mention earlier. You can choose which users are allowed to edit data within which client site. So let's see, Q&A, answered no. Okay, so nothing in Q&A. I apologize, I saw somebody they raised a hand, but I don't know. Let me go to participants. Is that how I do this? Well, we're going to run out of time here. Hopefully that was a useful introduction and update to the platform. I don't know how to address when you raise a hand. So if you did have a question, please feel free to ask that now. I think we covered, oh, I know, we definitely want to do our CEUs. So let me go ahead and pull that up. And everybody likes CEUs. Okay, so if you're certified arborist, we can help you out here. So there's our contact information. You can go straight to support for help or sales. You can call us at 833-TREE-MAP. And if you need any help submitting claiming the ISA CEUs, just contact Elizabeth, who runs our marketing group. But yeah, thanks so much for spending part of your day with us. I hope this was useful. Be happy to, we had a pretty big team here and a lot of resources to help answer other questions that you might have. I'll leave this up for a minute, and if there's any more questions, you got about a minute or two to ask those. Let's see, for David, I'm just gonna, oh, it says Vinny raised his hand. I don't know what to do with that. Vinny, if you had a question or anything at all, please use that chat window. I'm going to stop share. So hopefully you have that information. Let me see if I can figure out where you, yeah, allow to talk. Vinny, you're allowed to speak now if you have the audio working. You raised your hand. Let's see, hold on. Now you can, I think. I got to unmute you. Doesn't seem to be working. Not sure why. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. You might not be on the audio. Here's one that came into Q&A. What is the, Vinny, there we go. What is the cost per month? Great question. So let me share screen. I'll pull up our pricing page. We currently don't have a monthly price. We currently do a yearly, but the new jobs product will likely have a monthly price. That's almost guaranteed. So let me go here, TreePlotter/pricing. The way we handle the product levels, we have a base level, a complete level, and for the complete, you get a lot more features, tools, and so forth, which is down below where you can compare plans. So the base level does not include like photo attachments. It's a much more simple drop-down list. You get up to 15 data fields for this instead of unlimited. What else? You get up to 4,000 trees, whereas we go up to 40,000 trees for the 1 year, and then we have just a small incremental price increase if you want more trees beyond the 40,000. We also have this 3-year complete, which basically gives you I think it's $1,000 off. Yeah, so 3,000 versus 8,000. We haven't advertised pricing yet for the private tree care firm product, the jobs product, but that should be out in the next couple of months. And again, if you compare the plans, you can see all the different things you get with the complete level here. You get work history and inspections, you get all the reports, you get photo attachments, things like that. And if you'd like more information on the different add-on modules, that's down below. You just click on one and you can go into more details. Let's see, it looks like all right. think, Vinny, hopefully that answers your question. So yeah, we don't, like I said, don't have a monthly cost for the current products, but that will be available soon. So maybe if for anybody who's still around, for David's question earlier, how does the price work for a municipality? We would start you off with obviously a template database. You'd have 0 trees, and you'd start inventorying. If you're interested in working with us and our certified arborists to go out and go to your municipality and start helping you collect data, that we do that all the time, pretty much all year long. We've done a couple projects of 100, and we did one project of 170,000 trees in Maryland for an entire county highway and street system. We've done projects as small as a couple thousand trees. So yeah, you would be looking at, for a city, either the I mean, we have a couple of clients that are cities that use the base, but not too many. Most of them are at the 3,000 to start off with. Usually the fee to import existing data is $1,000 roughly. It depends on the format and so forth. And then again, if you wanted to be covered for 3 full years, you could do that as well. So hopefully, Dave, that answers your question. I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. I don't see any other questions coming in. But again, thanks for spending part of your day with us. I hope it was useful. Oh, Dave snuck in one more question. Is it easy to import GPS data versus mapping location? Yeah, so we actually, I guess I didn't mention this, is there is a tool called the Uploader that originally we used to import city data sets. However, if somebody collects data with a different system, let's just say there's a contractor, or somebody has a GPS unit and they want to go use that, you can, with no extra cost, it's part of the complete level, you can upload that data or import that. So that's definitely an option. And then again, you can use a combination. You can use our app to actually, plot the trees into the map like I showed you, as well as routinely import your data. It's a really nice interface. Let's see, I can just show you quickly. Yep, under the data tools, it's called Uploader, and it gives you these steps, and you can do a CSV or a shapefile, which is GIS format. Any other questions, Dave? Or did that answer it? Yep, you bet. I'd be happy to schedule another demo with one of our folks directly to ask some additional questions and so forth. So, all right. Well, this time for real, I'm gonna wrap up. Thanks again. Have a great day, and we'll hope to hear from you soon and stay in touch.